Hello everyone, we're here again in Concepts in Kabbalah. The fact that I seem whiter, I think it's the new cam that they put here, so the lighting is a bit different, but okay. So today we're going to talk about play, which is a very important concept in Kabbalah. So we'll explain it. Hello David, what's up? So we'll explain it like in a simple way, and then maybe we'll read some stuff about it, okay? So, wow, I'm very white, especially with this white background. Well, nice cam. Didn't decide if it's better or worse. Okay, so, hello Sisi, what's up? So, play. So if we're talking about evolution or going from one degree to the next degree, what is actually each degree? What defines it? So the thing that defines a certain degree is the reality that I reveal in that degree, meaning my perception of that reality, the laws that I discovered there, that I'm acting according to. So all this stuff is actually what defines this degree. Now, if I want to rise, for example, from x to x plus 1, then I'll have to change my perception. I'll have to change the way that I see reality, and then if I change the way that I see reality, then the thing that I called my reality will change completely. And now the question is, but if I'm not in x plus 1, how can I move there? How can I take a step towards that degree? How can I make the next degree realize sooner or earlier? Okay, so that's a big question, because if I'm here and I want to be there, how do I move to there? Because I'm here. Okay, so everything that I'll do, the way I think, what I feel, the things I act according to, the decisions I take, everything is according to x. So, and I have nothing of x plus 1, because if I would have anything of x plus 1, then I would be already in x plus 1. So what can we do? So the answer Kabbalists give is a pretty simple, straightforward one. And it's called play, okay? Or on some articles of Kabbalists they call it as if. So although I'm not in x plus 1, but if I'll play as if I'm in x plus 1, this will allow nature to work on me in a different way. This would allow me to advance to x plus 1, okay? So spiritual person is someone which is a bit complex, because in his essence he's still on the degree of x, but on the externality, how do you say that? Externality. No, it's not the way you pronounce that. Please wait while I'm using Google Translate. Externality. Yeah, that was easy. So why did I have trouble pronouncing it? Oh, I cannot hear it in this computer. Well, too bad. But it's externality. Okay, so so in my internality I'm x, and on my externality I'm x plus 1, okay? Acting as if I'm in the next degree. And then you can say, okay, so maybe it's like living a lie, or faking it until you're making it, but the concept is pretty straightforward. I need to be, on one hand, very honest with myself, knowing that I'm in X, and still in a very clear decision, in a very, like with two legs on the ground, I'm acting as if I'm in X plus 1. And in doing that, I can use a buffer. And what is this buffer? Which is like, this buffer actually, how do you say? I see that today I'm going to forget many words. Nice. Amplifier. Yeah, that's what I want to say. So I can use an amplifier that can actually accelerate the process, okay? And this amplifier is called the environment, okay? So I have something which is called the environment, or what we call the group, doesn't really matter. But let's say a supportive environment, okay? And what is a supportive environment? What is the difference between it to a different environment? Is the fact that when I'm acting as if I'm X plus 1, they go along with me and they say, hey, you know what, this is so cool. You're an X plus 1, so let's demand and treat you as if you're an X plus 1. And then I'm taking this degree of X plus 1 as granted, and I'm saying, okay, wow, if everybody treats me as if I'm an X plus 1, maybe I am an X plus 1, and this is how I change, okay? So this is very similar to what we do with children, okay? So when children come and they gibberish their way to adulthood, we don't say, hey, you know, stop talking gibberish, stop saying nonsense, you're acting like a 2-year-old or whatever. No, we're coming to them and we're saying, yo, wow, I don't know how you pronounce it in North America, and you're going like, wow, yo, this is so incredible, yes, you probably mean this or that, and we treat them like they are in X plus 1. And so they grow up and they start to take themselves seriously and saying, oh, the gibberish that I'm saying, actually people are paying attention. And of course, it's not everybody, because if they go on the street, nobody will treat them that way. Everybody will just treat them like they are a 2-year-old and not give, no, that's not a nice word, but won't treat them in the same way as they are in a supportive environment, in which people will come and say, yes, I understand you, you know what, you're very wise, and maybe I'll ask you some questions and have a dialogue with you, which is pretty stupid if you look at it from the side, because having a dialogue with a 2-year-old or something like that, okay? If she's a girl, it's much more logic, but still, if it's a boy, it's very weird. Okay, so this is in basic the principle of play. Okay, so every time we're playing away towards the next degree, we're using a supportive environment, and through that we accelerate our process of development. Okay, I see everybody's just saying hello to everybody else. Nobody's really concentrated on the material. Maybe you are, but still there are no questions. So maybe it's pretty clear, I don't know, like, wow, so many, like in YouTube today, everybody's asking, is this next degree crossing the barrier? You can say, because the barrier is just like 1 degree. So I'm not a Kabbalist, but I act as if I'm a Kabbalist, yeah, and that's true to every degree. Because even if you're a Kabbalist on level 1, you're acting like you're a Kabbalist on level 2, and that's how you evolve. Then from X plus 1, do we move to X plus 2? Yes, you do. What's the difference between X plus 2 and X plus 1 plus 1 plus 1? I don't know. Where's the other guy who was going to continue last week's class? I don't know. Who's the other guy? Maybe Gilad? Gilad usually broadcasts before me, I think like 1 hour before me, if you're referring to him. Here. David is asking, are you talking about Gilad Shir's Kabbalah Explained Simply? It will continue next Sunday. So maybe this week he took a vacation or something. Ibrahim is saying yes and thank you. Okay, good. So, sorry to disappoint you, Ibrahim. We're doing like concepts in Kabbalah, so it's not like a course. Okay, seems that there are no questions, so it's pretty straightforward, so maybe let's read a bit. Okay, so this is from Lightman's blog. Playing on all levels of nature. Question: is this game a socially based principle both in our world and in a person's spiritual work? Do I have to understand what the goal is I'm heading towards, take certain principles and use them in this game? Yes, otherwise it is impossible without the playing. Even plants have the principle of the game. Only we do not notice it. In the animal world, we see clearly how small animals play with each other, otherwise they don't develop. Their parents understand this, give them the opportunity to play, and treat this play with great patience. As for us, we naturally know that a person can be developed through playing. There is no other way. Therefore, we use all the elements of the game. See how many different toys we invent just for our children can develop. The same goes for Kabbalah. Kabbalah opens up a whole new world for us, in which a person must develop spiritually from scratch, no matter who the person is in our world. This may be a 30 or 40-year-old person in one's prime, a scientist, wise, but absolutely undeveloped in spirituality. Therefore, we invent all kinds of actions that can develop this person. First and foremost, these are the actions that take place in a group, as I've said, in a supportive environment. Okay, so you have the link to that in the description box. Okay, how can we know that we are playing the right game? Like in every other game, how do you know if you're playing right? How do you know if you're winning, if you move forward? You have some kind of feedback from the environment, and according to that, you adjust. So that's like the same principle. You just need to have a supportive environment, and then you do an action, you get a reaction, and according to that, you're adjusting your play. Good afternoon to you too. Okay. So, no more questions, yes? So let's read. So I'm reading from your second link. So this is from a book called The Psychology of Integral Society. This is the title, saying we grow by playing. So 5 attributes of a game. Life is a game, playing by the rules, playing until we achieve total equivalence with nature. Okay, and so forth, and many other things. Okay, so our goal in our game is to acquire equivalence of form with nature, attaining balance, what we say, the way we call it. I see that you cannot see it. How can I do that? I want to conceal it. Okay, this is better. Okay, so in this game we have principles that Kabbalists give us. So another topic that I would like to discuss is games that are played by children and adults. A few decades ago, John Huizinga, a cultural historian and philosopher, published a book titled Homo Ludens, Man the Player, which became a kind of cult book. After its publication, people started talking a lot about the role of games in the development of man and life in general. So what is a game? The extensive influence of games on human development has been known since ancient times. We like to play, and practically speaking, we spend most of our lives playing. Even my pre-dissertation examination in philosophy included a question on games. Games are everywhere, including in math and in nature. Games have a very important role in the development of animals and even plants. The element of playing is present in any transformation, in any forward movement from one state to another, as we've talked in the beginning of this talk. Nevertheless, there is a notion that games are related only to childhood, and when a person grows up, it's inappropriate for him to play because he has to be more serious. Unfortunately, there is indeed such a notion, but of course this is the perception of the world. When a person stops playing, he stops developing. 5 attributes of a game. Every game has 5 attributes or fixed characteristics. The first characteristic of a game is that one is free and participates in it voluntarily. Huizinga, I hope I pronounced his name right, wrote that a game is freedom. In the integral method, we are talking about a group of children. How can we set things up so their actions are voluntary? Can a child join a game and leave it at will or not? Voluntary and free refers to the choice of one's action and deeds until the person becomes certain that he is acting according to his conviction. So this is the first attribute, doing it voluntary, meaning that, like in short, we'll say that it has to be out of your perception of free will. It cannot be forced upon you, okay? So you must feel or have the illusion that you're choosing on your own. This is very important, so the development or the process that you're taking will be felt as your own, that you're taking the choices, that you're choosing, that you're acting, that you voluntarily or out of yourself choosing that path. Even if everybody set the game for you, still the child or the grown-up or the Kabbalist must feel like it's their decision. Okay, this is very important. Second, a game is always make-believe. A child has to know that it's a game, okay? So although you play it seriously, put all of your effort inside of it, still you understand that you're in a game. That's very important, and otherwise people go into all these fantasies that they are already in spirituality, or that they have all this wrong imagination, and they fool themselves and they lose grasp with the reality that they live actually at this moment. So you have to feel that you're in a game. Third, a game has a spatial zone and a time, meaning there is a beginning and an end to the game, and certain spatial boundaries, meaning that you understand that you are locked in the 4 dimensions of height, width, how do you call it in English, like volume and time. Okay, so you have like 3 dimensions and time, and you know that because we act out of our own body, we are limited by these 4 dimensions, and this is very important because sometimes games, especially in spirituality, can try to touch or relate to things that are above time and space, and still you must have your legs on the ground. Fourth, a game always comes with rules. That's the limitations that you need to deal with. Without rules, without limitations, you wouldn't have a challenge. Without a challenge, you cannot move forward. So actually, what you perceive as the degree of X is actually the limitations that you confront now. It's your challenge, that from it you want to attain a higher level of a balance with nature, which is X plus 1. Fifth and last, what's important is the process of the game, while the result of the game is secondary, okay? So it's more important how you play the game, how you put all of your effort into that, invest all of your effort, and not the result. Like the result is something secondary. It's nice, you're playing to win, but actually you change through the game, okay? This is very important. Something that wasn't mentioned here, and it's also very important, a person needs to feel that the game environment is a safe environment, meaning I can do mistakes and everything is okay. I can try again. This is very important. How can we know that we are playing the right game? If you're moving towards balance with nature, this is the right game. Is there a good and bad games? Well, in Kabbalah, usually the game or playing is in order to achieve balance with nature, or equivalence of form with the creator. If you don't do that, then you're playing like corporal games, which is also good. You can have fun and receive pleasure in your will to receive, from video games to soccer or football or whatever. But if you're talking spirituality, we're playing in order to ascend above our current nature into the nature of the creator. I can do mistakes in the game and end up in prison. No, you cannot, because in spirituality you have this safe environment in which you play. The worst that you can do is actually receive a negative feedback from the environment, and if you take it in the right way, then you understand that negative feedback is also helps you move forward. Never saw a game necessary for growth. What do you mean? The way that we learn language, the way that we teach children delicate mechanics, the way that we educate a child about the world and what is right and what is wrong, they are all forms of games. It can be role games, it can be coordination games, it can be verbal games. Am I playing this game alone with the creator? Yes, in the end it's a person with the creator, but as we've said, you can build a supportive environment or choose a supportive environment in which you create like a greenhouse that allows you to accelerate your process and actually move forward move forward faster and accumulate less suffering during this process. Isn't this supportive environment inside of us? I don't know if you refer to people who help you to advance towards spirituality, teachers, books, friends. If you treat that as something inside of you, then yes, they are. But and this is like, if you want to talk about perception of reality, talking about how everything we see outside of us is actually a projection of our internal perception. But okay, but I rather speak in a more simple way and just saying that you see this environment as something external. Can we define game as something like a dialogue, communication with God? Yes, you can define all of your reality as a dialogue with God, because what is a world by your perception it's the buffer between what you feel as yourself and the most internal force of nature, and all this how do you say tifora? I don't forget this word now. Like, you know, like on a stage you have like all the background of a stage, how do you call it? Scenery, setting, yeah, maybe setting. So all of this setting is just a way of this internal force of nature speaking to you, and you responding to it through your action. Where was I with the questions? Just saw it as growth. For some reason thought games as an adult was a tool for manipulation. Yeah, you can say, because you can talk about games as a way of manipulation, just like, you know, like governments are doing all this nudging, or you have all these games that work on your instincts in order to take more money from you, like in gambling or in certain apps or whatever. But that's because the default nature of us is egoistic, and we try to take advantage of one another. And move forward but you know, by stepping on others and moving forward through that. But the game mechanics itself, it's very useful in helping people change. If the 10 is not in harmony, some will advance and some will lag behind. You can say that, and you can also say that it's always in harmony, but you just don't see it. And as you move forward, you'll see that everything was in harmony. Okay. No more questions. So we've answered all of the questions. So I guess now we can finish this class, no? I'd like to advance fast, but KBU gives a new class once a week. Can we speed up the game? Yes, you can. Because you're in the beginners, so in the beginners you have once a week. Because I know that in the graduate you have like 3 or 4 lessons a week. But you can do it, learning on your own. You have a lot of material, either on YouTube or Facebook, or also in the Kabbalah Media Archive. No problem at all. But sometimes it's good to let things soak in before you move and accelerate. But you can learn as much as you can. Okay, so I think that's it for today. We have explained play. If you see this not live, you can always ask questions and I relate to them during the week or before the next lesson. And hopefully we'll see you here next week. Same time, same place. Take care, people. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.